Yo, Beth, that shit crazy.
On a Saturday, it's All Even with your boy Barry Grant. You can catch me on Instagram and Twitter at All Even Podcast. You can listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Deezer, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify. I'm all over the place. And trust me, go to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, like, share, and comment, because the page is growing, baby. At All Even Wave. Get on that wave. Lots to get into. The NFL has laid down the gauntlet, y'all. I'm going to talk about that. Phone a Friend is back with my man Rev Barber from the RapLab Podcast. That should be very interesting. And then the greatest segment on the planet, Dummy of the Week. So let's just jump right into it. The NFL ain't playing, y'all. They mean business. They have laid down the gauntlet. They have told all the coaches and the players that they're not into losing money anymore. So the NFL has said that there will be no Week 19. There will be no makeup games. If you can't make the games due to COVID protocols and there's an outbreak and it cannot be rectified within that week, that violating team is going to have to forfeit games. They're also going to have to forfeit checks. It's a lot of stuff going on. And there's been a lot of backlash on the other side of it. You have players that are frustrated. You have coaches that are frustrated. Hell, we had 2 coaches that actually got fired from their positions. You had Rick Dennison from the Minnesota Vikings. He wouldn't take the vaccine and he quit or got fired, however you want to spin it. Then you had Cole Popovich from the New England Patriots. He got let go as well. Like, there's just a lot of nonsense going on. You had DeAndre Hopkins tweet about, he may not, be associated with the NFL. He may have to walk away. You have other players who I'll discuss later in my last segment. We all know what that is. I'm not going to reveal that right now. But what I want to talk about is the policy. I completely agree with the NFL. There's not many times that I side with the NFL. Most of the time, I'm on the other side. Most of the time, I think that they put their foot in their mouths a lot. But this time, I'm with the NFL. The NFL is not telling players that you need to get vaccinated. They're not strapping you to a chair and bringing over a needle and forcing you to take this. What they're saying is that for those that don't want to take it, be responsible. For those that want to take it, be responsible. You see, the thing is, a lot of people believe in this country that you can be able to do whatever you want. It's free country, say whatever you want. All of that is true. Except when you work for somebody. If you work in a job, you're a first responder, and you need to take the vaccine because you're first line of defense, there's no choice. It's either you take it or you're not employed anymore. If there's other particular policies in the job, hey, don't leave the door open or this and that. Like, there's certain policies that jobs have, right? Certain protocols that people have to face. And if people are not adhering to the rules and the regulations of that particular job, they face disciplinary action. There's a consequence to every decision that you make, especially in the workforce. So people can abide by the rules at their job. But once they hear about the NFL play, this is terrible, they're not forcing them to do anything, because at the end of the day, this NFL situation is a job. A lot of players forget that. They just think that, hey, I play a sport and I get paid for it. It's a job. The NFL is a $1 billion franchise. It's a $1 billion entity. It's a $1 billion company. they have sponsors, they have shareholders. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into it, and they have to protect the investment, which is the NFL. The investment is the brand, the shield. So guess what? For the players that feel that this is restrictive and, oh, they're trying to tell me what to do and maybe I need to quit or retire, that's your option. You can either comply with what your job is telling you to do, or you can quit. But I can tell you this, players like DeAndre Hopkins, any other player that comes out for this, you can be replaced. The NFL will keep going. The machine will keep going. So if you don't want to comply, then quit. Leave the millions of dollars behind and go home. Leave the money behind and go home. Simple. I don't understand how this is so difficult to get. It's either you follow protocol or you're going to lose money if you put others at risk. The NFL is not telling you that you can't live your life. They're just telling you, be responsible. Don't be out there going to strip clubs and doing all this nonsense and bringing it back to the team. And then when other players are doing the right thing, you come and you screw it up. That's what they're telling you. We're not having another week to deal with your F up. We're not dealing with that anymore. We did it last season. We made sure that we adhered to policy. We helped people out. We worked with teams that were going through situations. We're not losing any more money for this because everybody should understand what is needed going forward now. We've been living in this situation for quite some time now. So if you still don't know how to move and be responsible yet, there's nothing the NFL is going to do for you now. They don't have to hold your hand and baby you anymore because everybody in the NFL are adults. There are no children here. So if you don't know how to be responsible, how to do your job and to focus on your job, I don't know what to tell you. But you got these players who believe that they can be able to voice their opinion and the NFL is going to say, you know what, maybe we should kind of take what we said back because so many players are fighting back against this. They're saying, if you don't like it, leave. We're just fine without you. The people that will suffer are the people that paid big money in their fantasy drafts, drafted you and you're not going to be there. Those are the people that's going to be, oh my goodness, what's going on? Where's my player? But in regards to the grand scheme of things, DeAndre Hopkins, as great as he is, can be replaced. Any other player, as great as they are, somebody else is waiting. So, all the people to me that are fighting this rule don't want to be responsible. So I'm not against people that don't want to get vaccinated. Yeah, you don't want to get vaccinated? Go ahead. Do what you got to do. But don't be reckless and don't put people at danger. Because the thing is, the misinformation about this vaccine is that people think that it's a cure. Oh, well, people are still getting infected. Yeah, it's not a cure. It just prevents you from having the horrible side effects or horrible symptoms and possibly dying and having to be rushed to an ER. That's what it is. So all of this misinformation is gotten people going crazy. But I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to focus on that part. I'm focusing on the responsibility part of it. I wear a mask because I feel comfortable in my mask. I wear a mask because I don't want anybody's breath particles on me. I wear a mask because I'd like to protect the people that are around me. Because I don't want to bring anything home. I want to make sure that everybody who's in my household is safe, responsible. I'm not going out there in some crazy situation to put myself at risk all because I want to have a good time. Life is bigger than that. And a lot of these NFL players or athletes in general feel that they can be able to do whatever the hell they want to do, all because they have a certain stature in life. Oh, I've made this amount of, I can do it. No, you can't. You should be more responsible. But the fact that people have money, they feel that they can just be able to do and say and act the way they want to, and there's no consequences. Oh, no. The NFL is telling you there's big consequences. So if you want to be a dummy, if you want to go out there and act a fool and not protect yourself and put people at risk, you're going to lose game checks now. You're going to get penalized now. That's the situation. I have no problem with this, because at the end of the day, this possibly will teach people a little bit more responsibility, a little bit more taking your job seriously, the totality of your job, the way you present yourself, represent yourself, the way you behave in public, the things that you do outside of the field, outside of the facility matters now. That's what I'm talking about. Don't embarrass yourself. Don't embarrass the NFL. Don't embarrass your family. That's what I'm talking about. It's not about vaxxed or not vaxxed. Just be responsible. Whether you are vaccinated or not vaxxed, wear a mask. Protect people. Just do the right thing. That's my opinion. All I can use is my opinion. But what I'm saying is that for the players that are looking at this like, when the NFL, they're so terrible. It's not that serious. Follow protocol because it's your job, or find another line of work. But don't complain when that other line of work is not that profitable like what you were doing before. That's my whole point. You want to go ahead and have free speech and go on your social media and look tough, but then you take things down a couple hours later? That to me is a joke. That to me means that you're not really about what you're saying. So the NFL doesn't have to change their stance because their stance is the right one to take. So they're being adults. They're handling their business responsibly. What are you doing? Are you following suit? For some of these players, the answer is no. And I would love to see the first team that ends up having the forfeit games for a couple of bonehead guys on their team. Oh, I would love to see how that's going to play out. Coming up after the break, Phone a Friend with RapLab Podcast co-host Rev Barber. On a Saturday, it's all even.
Yo, it's your man DJ G Money from that Flip the Script podcast. You see it? We in the studio right now. Flip, shut up. Yeah. Listen. Shout out to the All Even podcast. My man Barry Grant Jr. What's up, man? What happened? What you want to say to the people?
Shout out somebody else's podcast?
Yeah, don't get the joint. What's up?
All Even.
All Even podcast.
Yo, it ain't even up here, boy. We put this yo something. All Even. Yo, you. Oh my God. What's up with you, man? Now you. Well, that's a shout out. You keeping this?
Yeah, keep all that. You want to jump in
All
the
Even
camera?
podcast, right?
Yeah, All
Shout out
Even.
to All Even podcast, right? All Even. That's your man.
My man.
All right, shout out to All Even podcast.
100%. He cool. Is he cool? Let me see. Is he cool?
Yeah. What is it, G? Oh. I said about G.
He cool, man.
Welcome back, y'all. So now to my favorite segment, Phone a Friend.
Call him up, 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 call him up. Competing for a reason, trying to stay undefeated, yeah. Call him up, 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 call him up. Biggest game of the season, going live with All Even, yeah.
Who we have on the show today is a very good friend of mine. He's a co-host of the RapLab Podcast, a very good hip-hop podcast. You guys need to check that out. I've known him for damn near 20 years. It's crazy to even say that. It kind of dates our age a little bit. Welcome to the show, my man E.
What up? What up? What's going on?
It's good, man. It's good. Happy to have you on, man. It's been a while. I need your insight today. Today's an interesting day. You're like, you're an Eagle fan. I'm sorry for that.
But, in regards to other stuff, I mean, it's definitely an interesting time in sports as well as everything else. So, definitely want to, pick your brain about that. But how are you doing today, my man?
Man, I'm doing amazing. Life is good. Gonna open up the 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞 barbershop in August.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to that. The RapLab's going good. Me and my cohorts, Mr. QG, Mr. TO, the Candyman, Alfred.
Yeah, shouts to those knuckleheads, man. Shouts to them.
Those are my guys. Yeah.
So you know how I like to start the show, man. Kind of like put your social media stuff out there. I like to give you the floor a little bit here.
Yeah, man. Anybody could catch me mainly on Instagram. I do the Facebook thing too, but Instagram's probably the best way to get me. That's RevBarber.MC at Instagram. RevBarber.MC. I am a reverend. I do weddings as well. Also barber. I do haircuts and I MC. So once the world really gets back and popping, I host events and whatever it is you guys need, I'm at your service.
The man is well faceted. So so let's go ahead and start with the origin story. Like, you've been a sports fan your entire life. We grew up playing basketball. You're well-rounded in a whole bunch of things. But what kind of came first? Your love for sports or your love for hip hop?
Definitely my love for sports. I do come from a single parent household. I was lucky enough to have a stepfather. So when he was introduced in my life, I was about 4 years old. He was a huge Mets fan. We were coming off, I'm going to date myself. We were coming off the 86 World Series.
Right.
So it was a good time to be a Mets fan, good time to be a New Yorker and a baseball fan.
Facts.
So that was pretty prominent in my house was the, as I'm wearing the orange, white, and blue, which is the color of the barbershop too. So, it stayed with me, you know what I'm saying? Hip hop actually came a little later in my life, more so when, I say around 1994, 95, I got on a little late to Snoop Dogg Doggy Style,
yes,
Onyx. And Onyx was a huge part of what I do because they're from Queens. So I feel like I could relate to them because they was guys from like the neighborhood and stuff like that, familiar territory for me, where Snoop and them, these are guys from the West Coast. I ain't really relate too much to what they were saying, but they had some good tunes and some good vibes. And then I transitioned to a diehard Wu-Tang fan. I know they may not see the video here, but I have a Wu-Tang tattoo on me, so it's for life.
That's what's up.
You know what I'm saying?
Nah, that's cool, man. Like, what I'm saying? Like, you're well versed in hip hop knowledge. Like the RapLab, y'all need to check that out. These guys know their stuff. I'm not I love hip hop, but I'm not a historian like you guys are. So, what made you get into just having such a love for it and having a knowledge for it? Because you can be able to love something, but to really have a library of knowledge that you and the other co-hosts have on that show, it's really impressive, man. Kind of talk about that a little bit,
man. So back in the days we had the cassette tapes and the CDs, and I felt like, because I used to collect baseball cards too, but just the album covers is what drawn me to it, and having a collection of it and it being able to play back to you, different songs and different teachings and lyrics and rhythms. It just, I was so fascinated by it. So I wound up having over 1,000 original CDs and 1,000 mixtapes, mix CDs that I made, or from the bootlegger, you get the instrumentals and stuff like that. So just having that library kept me going with the hip hop and reading up on it and the Source and XXL. It was just like a whole new world, man. If school was about hip hop, I'd probably be graduated with honors.
Right.
I'd definitely be like valedictorian or something like that, because I was all in, man. Like hip hop was my life. Like, their albums, everything was just hitting for me so much. I've learned so much. Like I said, I come from a single parent household. I did have a stepfather. And but I had more of a direct father listening to hip hop, guys like Guru, guys like Big Daddy Kane, guys like GZA, RZA, like their teachings. I took a lot from it, and how to work my way in this world, and how to just be a better man. Just listening to them helped me out so much. So I owe everything to hip hop.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Nah, definitely, man. I mean, like the way you guys kind of approach your knowledge and your love for hip hop is kind of how I approach sports. Like I think I see it the same way. Like sports kind of raised me, you know what I'm saying? Like single parent household like yourself. Mom worked her ass off, but you know, I always kind of gravitated to sports. It was like, you know, seeing these guys and understanding the process and the game and breaking down film. I mean, I was breaking down film when I was like 13 years old in regards to basketball. It's not a lot of 13-year-olds you're doing that. They're just playing. But I wanted to understand the game a little differently. You know what I'm saying? So like for you guys, how you guys break down, you know, hip hop and the history of it, it's kind of just, it's like, it's very surgical, and I respect that. You know what I'm saying? Like I always listen. You guys are funny. Shouts to the Kenny, man. He's a nut. he was on this show, and we had a nice back and forth. So
that's what's
you know, definitely. So the fact that everybody except T.O. has been on this show now, you know, you guys are officially a part of the All Even podcast.
Dope.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, like, you know, you like I said, you have a great hip hop knowledge. But let's talk about, you know, the Rev part of this. Like, how did that come about?
So my goddaughter asked me to marry her and her husband, and they had introduced me to a church, and I basically got ordained through them. Okay. And since then, I've been doing weddings left and right. It's helped so much, especially through the pandemic, because, you know, I gotten laid off from the hotel. I used to work for the Marriott in Times Square. Right. So I needed another source of income. Absolutely. And the Reverend thing helped me out so much, and basically meet more families, more people, bring people together. It's awesome. It's a feeling that I can't even like really transcribe in words, because like, you know, love is a beautiful thing. And I hope that everyone out there feels that, like, not only unconditionally, but like, you know, with a significant other. And it may not be for some people, but, you know, there's always love in something. Like, you know, you have love in sports, I have love in music, and, you know, I am married and definitely love my wife and my son, but love is just, it's more than a 4-letter word, man. It's a beautiful thing. So for me to be the liaison to folks, to help them have a union is just an honor. And it's something I plan to continue to do for the rest of my life. And I hope when my son grows up, maybe he'll get into it as well.
Nah, definitely, man. Listen, you know, it could be a family business. Who knows?
Oh yeah.
You know
he could be Rev Barber MC Jr. for real, be cutting hair, marrying people, doing the thing on a mic.
Having his own podcast about hip hop. You never know, man. Like, so it's you know, the when you have children, man, it, you know, your mind kind of opens up in regards to what you want for them, right? Like the world is their oyster. Like they can be able to do anything, and you know, that's the beauty about watching them grow. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But nah, that's what's up, man. So, you know, you're a reverend, you're a hip hop historian, but you're also a real avid sports fan.
Yes.
Like, you know your stuff.
Yes.
Like you said, you're a Mets fan, you're a Knicks fan. I'm sorry for that. But you're also a Philadelphia Eagles fan.
Die hard.
And to live in New York and be an Eagles fan, my man, where did that come from?
I love it. I love when I used to take the trains and wear my midnight green, and everyone put their head down, because, you know, we get the best of the Giants, man. And I know I'm making a lot of people angry right now, and that's all right, but hear me out. Tell me, what is New York sports team? There is none. The Jets, the Giants, they play in New Jersey. I know they pay New York taxes and all that, but when you physically go to a game, you're going to the Meadowlands.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I appreciate that take and that sentiment, because I agree with you.
Yeah.
You can't, how are you going to say you New York and you play in, nah, you got to have something here. Something here.
Yes. And I know the Jets used to play in Shea Stadium.
And that's when they were good.
Right. See, so when they left, you know, but, you know, in the same tune of that, the San Francisco Giants used to play in New York as well. Right. But they're not a New York team anymore. So I gravitated towards the Eagles. It's actually New York's fault, because they show the Northeast games on Channel 5. So if the Giants weren't playing, they show Eagles games. So when I was young, I'd see Randall Cunningham and my mind was blown. the things he was doing on the football field and running with, I've never seen no quarterback do anything like that. Joe Montana was not doing things like that.
Right.
I mean, you had Steve Young and stuff like that, but the way Randall was doing things, and then they had their defense, of course, with my man Reggie White, the minister of defense.
Oh, yes.
Of course, I can relate to that.
Absolutely.
Jerome Brown, Brian Dawkins. It was just a perfect fit for me. And I love the color green too. So it just fit. But all across the board, I am a New York fan. I'm a Rangers fan. I'm a Knicks fan, Mets, even Yankees.
Don't do that. Don't do that. You can't. You gotta pick a side. You know that.
I know everyone gives me so much shit about doing that, but I just love to see the city happy, man. Especially like, you know, in the early 2010s when the Knicks were all right. And like I said, I used to work in Times Square, so coming home on the Long Island Railroad, you know, you see all the happy Knicks fans, Rangers fans, and it's just like, you know, everyone high-fiving. I love when like our city is in harmony, man. No one could take that from us the way we get. I mean, even when the Knicks this year, you know, we came back to the Garden, all the fans, and everyone heard how loud it was, and it wasn't even full capacity. So, you know, New York's a special place, but it's just a shame we don't have a football team.
Yeah, man, I agree with you, bro. I 100% agree. I think that, you know, although I'm not a Knicks fan, I'm not a Jets fan, Giants fan, I am an Islanders fan. Oh, I don't even want to talk about the Islanders, but yeah, I'm a huge Mets fan. When New York sports, when the teams are good, it's just special. Like, you know, I understand that there's other great fan bases around the country and the world, but when New York teams are good, it's just a different feel. It's a different level. It's a different vibe. So I completely agree with you. But, you know, let's kind of start off with the NBA finals. The NBA season has finally ended. I am happy about that because I am a miserable Lakers fan that had to deal with watching the Suns get to the NBA finals. Shouts to them. But, you know, what are your thoughts on what you saw from the NBA finals, what you saw from Giannis? And did you take anything away in regards to, is Giannis the best player in the league to you at this moment?
You know, that's a very touchy convo because you have a lot of Bron fans out there who will definitely disagree. But, you know, Giannis is 24, man. LeBron is 36, 37. I feel like the time is now to pass that torch, you know. And, you know, KD, of course, is out there, and he did amazing things after his injury. And I'm not the biggest KD fan, but I'll give him respect. What I took away from this is, once again, going to KD, I feel like KD was the one that lit the fire under Giannis in these playoffs because they have like this kind of like frenemy kind of vibe to them because Giannis used to look up to KD and everything, but people has stepped to KD and, you know, had Giannis' name all over saying he's the best, and KD didn't like that. KD's kind of a sensitive guy when it comes down to it, so he kind of gave it to him.
Kind of sensitive?
Yeah, his burner accounts and all that, super sensitive, and he kind of gave it to him in the playoffs. And I feel like that lit a fire under Giannis. And, you know, people say like, oh, the Kyrie injury would want to change things. I don't think it would have personally, but Giannis just had a new spark under him. And especially when he went down 2-0 to the Suns, he just started playing like a madman because he knew that everything was on the line. And, you know, Chris Paul, man, Father Time's caught up with him. And, you know, I was listening to your show yesterday actually about that. And like you were saying, man, the turnovers just came out of nowhere for him. It was just the worst time to start turning the ball over like he did. He was a completely different player in this championship game, man.
Yeah. Now when you say Chris Paul, who are you talking about? You talking about Black Cat Paul?
Black Cap. Here you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just want to make sure.
Yes, sir. As you say, yes, Black Cap Paul. It came from the Clippers' basement and hit the Suns, man. Devin Booker was just collateral damage.
Right. But I listen. There's some parts of what you said that I agree with. You know, Giannis, 26 years old. I don't want people to say that he's 24 because it makes him seem younger than what it is. Like
right.
26, getting good, turning 27. I think he's approaching his prime now, right? He's approaching who he's going to be as a player. And what we saw in those NBA finals, I will agree with you, is that I think that point where he had said that KD was the best player on the planet, that bothered me in so many ways, because I'm like, you're playing this guy during the series. You don't give it up like that during the series. You give it up after the series. So I was very critical of Giannis. I have been very critical of Giannis in his career because, you know, there's certain times where I felt that his basketball IQ wasn't always there, that he needed a lot of work, that he was a one-trick pony And what he's shown in this NBA Finals is that he can dominate being that one-trick pony.
Right.
He's a very dominant player in the paint. I am still at the point where I want to say that he still needs work. I'm not going to call him the best player in the world. He's one of the best players in the world. I still have LeBron. LeBron will always be number one until he leaves. So in my book, it's Braun, it's KD, and it's Giannis in that order. So until those guys go away, Giannis is not going to have the crown for me. But that doesn't mean that he's not a great player.
Right.
So, you know, it's always like that when you kind of rank people. Oh, my goodness, how are you disrespecting Giannis? I'm not disrespecting Giannis. He's third. He's third in a league of great players. Like, that's not disrespectful.
Probably the best core of athletes we've had ever in the NBA. I feel,
Right.
because, you know, there's still Russell Westbrook out there.
Yeah.
You know, and say what you want, man, but like he does get the triple doubles, man. He touches all aspects of the game with assists, rebounds.
Yeah.
And, you know, he may stat pad a little bit, but he's doing it out there, man. And he's a dog, you know.
Yeah.
So guys like him, you can't forget.
Nah, definitely, man. So, you know, Giannis, kudos to him, man. You know, he did what he had to do. You know, he carried his team. The last time I saw somebody carry a team like that, being down 0-2, was Dwayne Wade in 2006 NBA Finals, where, you know, he physically literally destroyed the Dallas Mavericks by himself.
Yeah.
Averaged 35 points just like Giannis did, and kind of led his team to the NBA Finals. So, you know, shouts to Giannis, shouts to the Bucks. Do I think that they can be a dynasty? No, I don't see that happening. I think that they're going to be a good team, but I don't see them repeating. This is not a team that I can see, you know, racking off 2 or 3 championships in 5 years. I just don't. I don't see that possible. Can they get back to the finals? Absolutely. You know, the Eastern Conference is there for Giannis to dominate. Do I feel that he's going to win another title anytime soon? I don't believe so. I thought personally that either team, whether it be the Phoenix Suns or the Bucks, whoever won, that it would be a one-off. That whatever team won, they wouldn't win another championship for quite some time.
Damn, no love for the small market teams.
Nah, it's not even about the small market teams, or maybe it is. Maybe it is. You know, the thing with me is that small market teams will always have a sprinkle of success in sports.
Mm-hmm.
You see it all over the place, right? You see it in football. You see it in hockey, you see it in baseball, but the sustainability of those small markets in regards to dominating their sport, it's not common. San Antonio Spurs is not common. You know what I'm saying? It's very hard to have a great player and a great system and then have a whole bunch of other great Hall of Fame players come in there in the same time span and dominate for 20 years. That doesn't happen a lot because these small market teams, they don't want to pay luxury tax. They don't want to deal with certain things. They don't want to have to spend a lot of money because they're in these small markets. That's why you saw teams like the Florida Marlins. They won 2 World Series and they had to blow it up right after that because they knew that they could not afford to keep all of this talent. It happens all the time. Same thing with the Kansas City Royals back in 2015. I don't want to bring that up. You know, against our Mets, but they win the World Series and they have to blow it up because they understand that they cannot keep this talent together. They can't pay everybody. So that's the drawback from being a small market, is that whether people like it or not, everybody's always talking about parity. If you want parity in sports, watch hockey. You don't get parity in sports. You get domination. You get teams that are dynasties, the Patriots, the Golden State Warriors, the Lakers, all of these teams, they always have dynasties. That's just the way sports are, and it makes sports good. I think super teams and great teams and dynasties are good for the sport because when they lose, everybody wants to see them lose.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, when the Patriots go down, people are celebrating worldwide.
Oh, yeah.
Right? When they win, everybody's like, oh my God, again. Like it's that feeling of you want to see the juggernaut go down.
Yeah, killing Goliath.
Yeah, that David and Goliath story. It's the greatest, it's the oldest story ever told, but it's the greatest story ever told. And that's why it makes sports beautiful, because that's what it is. So for people that always care about, we wanted the small market teams and I love it, there's no super, cut it out. Cut it out. Super teams belong in the NBA. They've been around since forever. You know what I mean? Like, LeBron did not create the super team. The super team existed way before LeBron got into the NBA. So let's stop.
I agree.
Let's just stop, right? So what are your thoughts on the Knicks and their free agency? Do you think that this is the year that they either, because the free agent market is not that great this year. If Kawhi opts out, obviously he's the best player in the free agent market, right? But the trade market right now is the hot market. Do you feel that this is the year that the Knicks possibly, either if Kawhi goes there, they get somebody else for free agency, or do they go trade and go get themselves a disgruntled superstar?
I feel like it's just going all up from here. Every year is just like on the rise, and we can't get no worse than we was, these past couple of years in the late 2010. So it has no other choice but to go up. And now finally, we have better management, and
that's true. Yes.
We're more appealing now to certain players, and a lot of the older guys like LeBron, Steph Curry. Sucks. It's weird saying like they're older, but like guys like Zion, when he's a free agent now, New York's more of an attraction from him.
Yes.
Because I can't front. I don't really like KD and everything, but what he said, he was right about, the Knicks not being cool.
Yep.
And like, the guys who grew up, were knowing that the Knicks were losers, a losing franchise. So it's like, who wants to go to that?
Right.
So I get it. But now, like with Leon Rose and World Wide West, they changed the projection of this franchise.
Absolutely.
I'm glad Dolan has taken a step back, but he always looms his head. I seen what he's doing with the Rangers, and that's not good either.
But listen, he's kind of been very hands off with the Rangers. I mean, like he's allowed them to be them, right?
Yeah, he has. But now, since he kind of started taking more control, you see they fired all them coaches and everything, and they're going in a whole different direction now.
Yeah.
But now with the Knicks, I'm hoping he just stays in the dark like the way he's been, because that's been the winning formula for us now, is just having him like just in the cut and letting World Wide West and Leon Rose just, man the negotiations with all the other players and free agents and stuff. And, people who laughed when we got Julius Randle, but I followed him since the Lakers, and, he was a sure double guy. And I know you have your critique on him and saying like, he's not a number one, and he maybe not even a number two, but I strongly believe that he could be a number two. Say we don't even need like, a superstar or a megastar. I feel like we get somebody like, DeMar DeRozan and even like a Kyle Lowry, like a small other piece, we'll contend, because, the East is wide open. I mean, you had the Heat last year in the finals, and now you have the Bucks, and next year it's not promised that the Bucks will be there, or the Heat or the Nets. So, you know what I'm saying? Like it's wide open. So a team like the Knicks can creep up and do big things. I mean, nobody expected us to be in the fourth position. And we got that fourth seed.
Right.
With just Julius Randle and Derrick Rose of all people, so I feel like it's going just up for here. But the only thing that could hurt us is, we can't get too greedy or too happy. I feel like we have all these number one picks. We need to use it wisely, because we're not the only team with number one picks. You got OKC out there, you got Houston out there, who has a plethora of number one picks in the upcoming years. So based on what we do with that, it's going to determine how we're going to look in the future. But one thing is for sure, we got to keep RJ, because I do want Zion in New York, man. And I want to see him in all the billboards on 34th Street and everything, and highlight reel stuff like that. So to keep him happy, we got to keep his boy here. And that's number one for me.
Right. I mean, listen, man, the thing is with Randall is that, yes, could he be a number two? Can he develop himself into a number two? It's possible. I just don't see it. But that still doesn't mean that he can't be an important piece to the Knicks building their team. The only concern that I have with him, not only with the development in regards to his tier, is the money that they're going to have to give him. I spoke to Bill Pito on All Even Live exclusive, had an interview with Bill Pito, and he said the same thing. Do you commit long-term to Julius Randle? Because if you do that and he reverts back to the old Randle, you're in a tight situation, because you're going to have a guy that's not producing the way you want to, but he's getting paid like a number one guy. That's the issue that the Knicks are going to have here, is that do you let him go into that last year of the contract and just play it out and see what happens and then pay him? Or do you extend him now? It's very hard to kind of gauge that, because you really don't know what to expect out of his game. Like, is he going to repeat this performance if there are more, if the pressure is elevated? Because just like you said, nobody expected the Knicks to be here. Nobody expected the Knicks to be the 4 seed. So he was able to shock a lot of people in regards to being that high volume scorer, being that high volume, high minutes guy. Now the fact that the book is out and people understand that he is the guy now, we're going to see how he develops and how he takes that into the next season. Can he actually, take on that pressure? Can he live up to what he did this season? It's a lot to kind of, digest. Can he do that? And will the Knicks say, okay, here's 5 years, $170 million, and you're our guy? That could be a concern. And that's my point, is that as good as he is, what is his actual dollar value? Because if you pay him high money, can you be able to say that he's a number 2 to a Kawhi or to a Dame or to a Zion or to any of these other guys? Is that the issue that the Knicks are going to run into?
And also, I may be showing my little fantasy GM, flavor here, but what's important to me is guys staying healthy and guys staying on the floor. So somebody like Randall, he doesn't have like the longest history of injuries. So in an age where we're paying guys crazy amounts of money and guys are taking sabbaticals or time off and all that stuff.
Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. I'd say pay him. He's been pretty consistent on staying on the floor. Yeah. And if he's going to, give you, consistency, every night, at least just being there, he's not going to give you 30 or 40 every single night, but, he will give you that double. He will give you his 10 rebounds and, however many points, it's definitely going to be over 10. So I say pay him, because that's another piece you got to not worry about as far as showing up to the games.
Right. Nah, that's a good point. Now, here's a question for you. There's some rumor going around that Bradley Beal may be considering leaving Washington. If you're a Knicks fan, that you are, do you think the Knicks should actually pony up some of those assets and go get themselves a Bradley Beal?
Yes, they should. I don't think we're going to be able to do it. Just personally, I'm just so familiar with letdown, but why not? Yeah. Like I said earlier, as far as having like the first round picks of the future and everything, that's somebody you need to throw that at, not just, a regular Joe or a mid-tier guy.
So you'd give the Washington Wizards 4 draft picks for Bradley Beal?
I'd give them 3. I don't know about 4. I'd give them 3.
What if they was asking for 4? You wouldn't.
Oh man, I'd have to double up on second round picks and throw in friggin' Toppin and Knox and everything. One person I don't want to give up is Quickly, but right. I think he's going to be a big piece.
Yeah.
If it comes down to like Lillard or Beal, like Quickly is going to be a huge piece. So
Absolutely.
It's like I'm preparing myself mentally to depart with him. But as far as Beal, yeah, man, throw all the picks you can for him. I feel like we're one of the top teams that can offer something like that and in a place to win right now.
Right.
Where OKC and Houston, they do have all these picks, but they're not in a position to win right now. Right. I feel like OKC and Houston are the teams to watch in the future because, like I said, all these guys are getting older. Steph Curry, even Kyrie, KD, they're getting up there. So when these guys are getting all their first round picks, those are the teams to worry about when it comes to getting these stars, because it doesn't necessarily mean you have to get the first pick to get a superstar. Look at Giannis. He wasn't the first pick. So hopefully they do their research and get somebody like him in the future draft.
I will say this in regards to Oklahoma City, is that they've always been a team that has drafted well. Yeah. They drafted James Harden, they drafted KD, they drafted Russ, they drafted so many great players, and they're able to understand what to look for. They know that they can't bring in a top star. They know that they have to draft well and develop guys. So having all those draft picks, having all those assets is going to give them even more chance to be able to further evaluate these guys, stack them up, and see who pans out from who doesn't. And then they can be able to maneuver, get more trades and get more assets in the future. So they're in a good spot. Houston, the same thing. I think Houston is in a good spot, but Houston is in a different situation. They are not a developmental type of organization.
Right.
They can be able to go get themselves a star once they revamp themselves. They have to show that they can be able to draft some good young players and let those guys develop and be good. And then maybe they can possibly be able to get a high level player. So, both teams are in the same kind of asset pool, but they kind of do things differently. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely agree with you in regards to those teams. And yeah, if the Knicks need to be in on every disgruntled player trade at this point. Whoever's angry and wants to leave their market, the Knicks should be, hey, I heard your guy is upset. You want to talk? No, we don't want to talk to you. Other guy comes, hey, you guys upset. You want to talk? Like, they should be in every GM's DM right now and voicemail and all that stuff. So I think the Knicks are going to be very active. I don't have a problem with them. Scott Perry just got his extension. So, you know, they like what he's done in regards to general manager and stuff like that. So, you know, the Knicks are on the come up. I make fun of them. I make fun of Knicks fans all the time, but I will have to say that they are definitely one of the teams that are on the rise. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they just have to continue to develop the guys that they have, continue to have a winning culture, and to make people realize that they are doing things the right way, that you can trust this front office. You can be able to trust the direction that they're going in. And once that is the message to the rest of the NBA, you'll start to see things change in regards to people wanting to go to New York more than anywhere else. So it could be the next 5 years, you might see an influx of major talent coming into the Knicks or not. We'll see. We'll see what direction they go to. Maybe they want to just develop the young guys and see what happens, or they want to go ahead and poach somebody's star. So, you know, we'll see exactly what direction they go into. But I think the Knicks are in a good spot for the first time in maybe 15 years.
Long time.
Yeah. So, segueing into football, because football right now, is the hottest topic in sports right now. The NFL has laid down the gauntlet. The NFL has said, we are not going to have a week 19. So any team that has an outbreak that cannot, you know, if they can't control it, if they can't play their game, you're going to have to forfeit your game. You're going to have to forfeit wages. It's not our problem that you can't control the guys that can't control themselves. So my thing to you is, what are your thoughts about that? Do you feel that the NFL is doing the right thing? Do you feel that this is something that is, quote unquote, unfair?
Oh yeah, this right here, I think we may be at odds on this one. And
I'm waiting.
before I start, I just do want to say that, you know, I am fully vaccinated. What I did was that for my business. You know, I run a barbershop. I want everyone to feel comfortable with me being up close and cutting their hair.
Yes.
I'll be honest, there's a lot of things I do not agree with the way this process has been going, and even the shots itself. I wholeheartedly don't, but I had to do it. A gun was put in my head, figuratively speaking, to do this for my clients, my customers, and everyone to feel comfortable. If it was up to me, and if I'm a millionaire, personally, I would not do it, only because this trials. It hasn't really been approved, by the FDA and stuff like that. So it leaves me with a lot of questions about it. I know a lot of people feel differently, and it's a super, super sensitive topic. And I'm not here to change nobody's mind. I'm not here to, bash anybody for doing what they feel is right and safe and necessary, because I had to do it. But as far as, NFL guys and being multimillionaires, I feel like they shouldn't be forced. And I feel like when the NFL had released that rule, it was kind of unfair to those who are on the fence about this, because we still don't know the long-term effects of COVID itself or the vaccines. I feel like there are different ways to go about this. If you're unvaccinated, they implemented these things where guys still had to wear a mask. Guys still had to separate themselves from certain events, certain team events and stuff like that. And I felt like that was cool. But now you're playing with the win-loss record. It's bad enough that the NFL has this stupid tie rule, which plays with the win-loss record. And now they have to deal with this where, like, say an unvaccinated player gets COVID and there's an outbreak. So what happens if a vaccinated player gets COVID and there's an outbreak? Is it still a forfeit? It's just a lot of questions. But I personally don't agree with the way the NFL has handled this situation. It's kind of just not fair to everybody, because nobody has the answers to COVID or the vaccine. It's a super sensitive topic, and a lot of us are split, and I don't want to cause no division within society or the listeners or anything like that. We're all entitled to how we feel, but as far as the NFL, personally, I just don't agree with the way they went about this.
Okay, I mean, listen, I hear that point, and that was well said. Here's my rebuttal to that. Here's my opposition to that, is that a lot of times And maybe, us as fans, sometimes even the athletes themselves, sometimes they actually forget that the NFL is a job. The NFL is a business. So just like you said, for your business, you had to bite the bullet, so to speak, because you want people to feel safe. You want to have this image of, listen, we're doing things the right way, so to speak, here. You know what I'm saying? The NFL operates the same way. Sponsors. There's a lot of money going into the NFL. They're $1 billion business. If the assets are not responsible, the business model, the business loses money. They are saying to the players, this is your job. Just like how they're I don't want to compare. Listen to me, listen to my fan base, listen to what I'm saying, people. I am not comparing jobs. I'm just saying that first responders, EMT people, they have to take the vaccine, right? That's a part of their job. NFL players, it's a part of their job. If you want to not have the money issue, you guys want to have the money that's there, guaranteed money, or the signing bonuses and all that stuff, all of this is tied into it. If the TV money and things are compromised because teams are having these outbreaks because of about some players not being responsible, that is a big problem for the NFL. They did it last season. They dealt with outbreaks. They dealt with having to delay games and postpone games for a week and stuff like that to kind of make up the schedule. They're saying to you guys, you don't have to get vaccinated. That's not what we're saying to you. What we're saying to you is you need to be responsible if you're vaccinated or you're not. Because if you're going to a strip club with no mask on and everybody's out there, you don't know who's vaccinated from who's not, and you're being reckless, and you come back to the team facility and you expose yourself to vaccinated or non-vaccinated people, you are causing harm to your team. And that's the thing. There's different science out there that says that, hey, well, people can get vaccinated and still catch it. Yes, that is true. But what it does is that it prevents you from going into the hospital or dying. That's what the vaccine is. It's not a cure. Like, people have to understand that this vaccine is not a cure. It is to just prevent or to minimize your symptoms so that you don't die. That's the thing that people are kind of, they're misconstruing. There's misinformation everywhere. So
everywhere,
So the NFL is basically telling you, like, we're not telling you that you have to get vaccinated, because obviously you have free will to do what you want. But in regards to this job, it would be better that you do it, because this is our protocol and our policy. Look what happened to those two coaches. They didn't want to follow protocol. They got fired. Yep. Same thing. If you're in a job that, say you're a first responder and everybody has to get vaccinated, you come to work and they say, okay, it's time for you to get your shot. Oh, no, I'm not doing that. I don't believe in the shot. What do you think your job is going to do? Are they going to say, okay, that's fine, you can be able to put your mask on? They're going to say, you can clean out your desk. You can go ahead and clean out whatever you got here, or you can just leave it. We'll mail it to you. Because if you don't comply to our protocols and our policies here, you can't work here anymore. And that's how people have to understand this in regards to the NFL. It's a business. It's a job. You have to, if you don't like your job's policies, then guess what? You have two options. You can either comply or you can quit. But I'm tired, of these players posting to social media that, oh, well, maybe I'm going to step away from the NFL. Do it. Do you honestly feel like, here's the thing. Here's a question for you. Do you honestly feel that the NFL cares if Cole Beasley or DeAndre Hopkins leaves the NFL? They can replace those guys.
Yeah.
They don't care. They don't care if you walk away. You've made your money. You've made your point. Cole Beasley has said on numerous occasions, my family's good. Everybody's taken care of. Cool. Then walk away. But stop talking about it. You're not a tough guy. You're not gonna win. You're not gonna dethrone or sink the NFL with your takes. You're just another guy on the wheel. You're just another guy in the machine. So if you step away, nobody's going to even blink an eye. Maybe somebody who picked you in a fantasy football league will be mad, but that's the only thing that's going to change. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. They're not telling you not to get vaccinated. They're just telling you to be responsible. And even if you're vaccinated or you're not, because I'm one of those people that, vaccinated or not, wear your mask, be responsible, don't be out there being reckless, and don't put your family at risk, don't put your friends at risk, don't put your coworkers at risk. That's all. I don't think that that's so much to ask for, honestly. And I'm sorry for the diatribe and the monologue. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I completely agree with being responsible. I mean, like you said, unvaccinated or vaccinated, we still have to be responsible. We're not completely out of this.
Right.
I know it seems like we are. Everyone's excited about it, but we still have to be careful for our families and our kids. As far as the NFL, you know, it's not like a face-to-face business, say like, you know, a health professional or even a barber, you know, like these guys are, you know, playing a whole season with other teams. I guess there's travel and stuff like that. But like, as far as like putting a substance in that, like, we still don't have no answers to, like, I get it, but I don't agree with Cole Beasley being like so forward and outward, because it is such a sensitive topic, unless he has a bunch of guys that are ready to like just boycott the NFL, like Hopkins, or maybe even other high profile names, because say like a Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, say if these guys were like, oh, you know what, I don't want to get vaccinated, you know, like fuck the NFL, I'm out, you know, then I feel like it'll make some noise. So I feel like it's just the beginning, and more players are going to come out. And I feel like there got to be some kind of meeting where everyone can get on some kind of grounds, because things went decent last year. You know, I mean, games were pushed back, but they were pushed back to Wednesday. You know, it wasn't too crazy out there last year. But like you said, if these guys are responsible and do the right thing and understand that, more importantly, this is a job. There are, like you said, companies and investors and people being represented out there with these teams. You have to do your job. You have to do what's asked. And you're right, they are giving people the option to not get vaccinated. But if I'm in this position and I didn't want to get vaccinated, let's say, I would just isolate myself with my family, you know, have my kids do virtual learning, try to get as minimal contact for the next like 8 to 9 months.
And see what I'm saying? You're thinking smart. You're thinking responsible. We have these millionaire players that behave like children. Let's keep it 100.
You're right.
Is that they think that just because they made all of this money, they can be able to do what they want. So they can go hang out here, go to this club, go to this club, go to this place, like, and then go back to their job or go back to their families like nothing happened. That is irresponsible behavior. If you're an athlete, if you're a professional athlete and your job is to play football, do that.
Yep.
You have time in the offseason to go ahead and be a knucklehead and do whatever the hell you got to do.
And
but your
lemon
job,
pepper wings.
Yeah, right. Get your lemon pepper wings, have strippers, do whatever they want to you, whatever. But your job is to play this sport for this organization. They're asking you to just be professional for the season. That's it.
Right.
I don't understand how that's so difficult for a lot of guys. And this is why I don't feel sorry for a lot of people, because it's like, you're in this position, behave like an adult. Behave like somebody that has responsibility. Just because you have the money and you can be able to do whatever you want, and you have a luxury in regards to the freedom that you have, and you can be able to go, that's fine. But set an example. Don't be reckless, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm an NFL player, if I'm an NBA player, and I know that my season is coming up, just like you said, if I don't feel comfortable putting my kids in school because of what's going on, I'll keep them home. I can be able to afford that. I can be able to virtually, have them do school. I'm going to keep them safe as much as possible. I'm going to keep myself safe as much as possible, because I care about their well-being. I care about their safety. I care about the safety of my teammates. I care about the safety of the people that are cutting the checks for me. Like, I'm going to be responsible because it's my job to do so. Like, the NFL, they're not babysitters, and they're basically telling you now, we are done like babysitting y'all. We are done understanding circumstance. It's about money. It's about making the season go on. This is a business. We have to operate like a business. We have to get back to regular business. And I don't really have a problem with that because, like I said, it's not like they're saying, everybody, if you're not vaccinated, you can't play in the NFL this season. Not saying that. They're just telling you, listen, just be responsible. That's all. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree, man. And like you said, they're making too much money to act like the way they are, especially like, you know, as we spoke, Lemon Pepper Lou, you know, it's like, dude, you're in a bubble, man. Like, why are you going and doing this and jeopardizing your team? And, you know, once again, we don't know what this is, man, long term, you know, on both sides. So it's like, why would you do that? That's selfish.
Right.
You're making too much money to act like that, you know?
Exactly.
And I feel like there should be some kind of compromise between guys who don't believe in it or guys who do, or the NFL. And it's like, you know, they're men here, you know, like it's not hard to be a responsible man. You have a family, you have kids, you already took on that responsibility. So when it comes to this, you could be responsible too. And like I said, just put your kids in virtual learning. You know, if their wives can do like, you know, at home, like work, do that, because this is millions of dollars on the line here. Why would you risk that?
Definitely. It's millions of dollars that you are possibly putting at risk, all because you want to do what you want, and this is a free country, and I'm free. And like, come on now. Like, everybody has to do what they got to do with their job. Everybody has a job to do. Everybody has to follow certain protocols and guidelines. Like, that's why we're called adults, because we have to do adult stuff. We have to comply. We have to understand protocol and set an example for our children and the youth to see us, you know, kind of be responsible and do the right thing. You know, could you imagine if you're out there and you're living your life and your son is looking at you and it's like, all right, well, you know, my dad is out there doing what the hell he wants to do, so I can be able to do the same thing. How are you supposed to go ahead now and say, no, son, you got to be more responsible? Dad, I see you out there wilding. I see you doing what you got to do. So why I can't do that? It's a bad message to be sending to your family, to kids who look up to you because you are in a position of influence. That's not what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's my whole thing with this whole NFL thing. You know, I am 100% in agreement with the NFL. That's very odd for me to even say that, because I'm always at odds with the NFL in regards to the whole you know, the CTE stuff and the concussion stuff and the way that they differentiate you know, test results or test rules between black players and white players. Like, there's a lot of stuff that the NFL does I don't like, but this thing right here, I understand it, I like it. And if anybody doesn't agree with it who is an NFL player, like I said, you have two options. You can either comply or quit, and that's it. Like, there's no middle ground here. And that's why DeAndre Hopkins deleted his tweet shortly after he put it up, because he understood that it's a part of the machine. You able to go out there and be emotional. You want to tweet and put it on your IG or your Twitter and all out. You want to show your fans that you're not happy. Then leave it up there. Don't delete it, because you understand what has to be done. You understand protocol. You understand that there's a bunch of money on the line and you're making a lot of money and you don't want to sacrifice that. So let's not confuse this for liberation and freedom of speech. Do your job. You get paid to do your job. You get paid well. Leave it at that and be professional and move on.
That's said.
You know what I'm saying? Definitely wanted to talk about the sad news for the New York Jets that Greg Knapp, the assistant coach, you know, was riding his bicycle and got hit by a car and lost his life. Just tragic news, because, you know, he was a really good guy. Like, everybody that you hear talk about Greg Knapp always has pleasant things to say about him. You know, he's worked with a lot of the greats, Peyton Manning, Steve Young. You know, he's been around a long time, 30 plus years in the NFL. And, you know, to see this happen to him, you know, just heartbreaking, man. Like, I saw the news and I was just like, you know, certain things just happens to good people and you just wonder why, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I wish people would kind of internalize news like this too, because like, we're out here too riding bikes, we're out here driving cars. Just be mindful of those who, on the other side of it. If you're driving, just keep a lookout for guys like riding bikes or, doing it the right way, because you got a lot of these kids now, especially in New York, riding like the mopeds or like the little
man.
Yeah, they're finna get hurt out here doing that stuff. But even as a bicyclist too, kind of stay in your lane, just be mindful of the cars too, because these are tons of steel, man, and you see what happens when things go the wrong way. But it's sad, man. Rest in peace, Greg Knapp. And my heart is with his family. And like I said, I hope everybody just internalizes and just kind of keeps a lookout for one another, because at the end of the day, we all have families and obligations that we have, and we don't want to take nobody away from that.
Yeah, definitely, man. I this hit me very hard because, like, I lost a cousin like that. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't on a bicycle, he was on a motorcycle and got hit off his motorcycle. And it was the same situation with the Knapp family in regards to Greg Knapp losing consciousness. He never regained it, and that was it. Since that day, I've always looked out for motorcyclists and just cyclists in general, because they are at such a disadvantage that if they do get hit, there's no protection other than that helmet.
Right.
And if that helmet flies off for whatever reason,
forget it.
It's just unfortunate, man. So it's really, really sad news about Greg Knapp, and just terrible timing for the Jets organization, because I believe that he would have helped Zach Wilson a great deal. So that's on the minor scale of it, but on the grand scale of life, you being a Rev, kind of definitely would like to hear some good reverent words at this moment for Greg Knapp.
Yeah, man. Best I could say. Like I said, everyone just try to, when you hear news like this, just internalize it and think about others, and just be mindful that this is our world, and we're all allowed to have as much fun as we can. It's safely and legally, of course, but and it's bigger than us at times. So as I said, if you're on the road, just keep mind out for cyclists, motorcycles, all that kind of stuff. And like I said, it's tons of steel that we're behind the wheel. And, if you hit somebody, helmets don't always, protect, things happen and stuff. But, just please be mindful of the cyclists out there, and cyclists too, just keep in mind, like, the cars and changing lanes and switching and with the blinkers, because even now as a driver in New York, one of the worst places to friggin' drive, let me tell you. There's people who don't signal, there's people who do,
oh my goodness,
as I like to call, cowboy shit on the road. 3-lane switching or just quick lane switching without signaling. The other day I had my son in the car and my wife, and this big truck just switched lanes without signaling, and I was speeding up because I had to make to merge into this left lane to make my turn. And, I let him know. I pulled up beside him. I said, I got my son in the car. Like, use your blinker, communicate. And, it's for the safety of others. Don't be selfish out there.
Facts.
And in a situation like this, we see where it goes, man. And, rest in peace to Greg Knapp and anyone who's been devastated by stuff like this.
No, definitely, man. Well said. So definitely want to switch gears to the Green Bay drama I like to call days of our Green Bay Packers, right? So very cryptic IG posts from Aaron Rodgers and Devante Adams. Devante Adams recently broke off contract negotiations with the Packers. Looks like, I don't know if they're going to be able to come to an agreement on an extension for him. It looks like Devante Adams and Aaron Rodgers may be going off into the sunset together, because they posted that Jordan Pippen picture at the same time. So what are your thoughts about what's going on in Green Bay? And do you think that there's any resolution? Can they repair this, or is it a wrap?
It's a wrap. When you try to make somebody the highest paid player in the league and they say no, something is wrong. Because for the most part, money does solve a lot of problems. But in this situation here, money is not the answer. I think it's time for Aaron Rodgers to leave. I won't be surprised if he retires next week. And I think it was Carson Palmer that did that.
Yes.
And come back with another team. I kind of see it going that route. Devante Adams, and I like it. I like the unity shown between the two, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, I was listening to your to the podcast yesterday, your last episode, and you were saying, Aaron Jones was on a discount and they weren't about to pay him.
Right.
So, and he could tag along too, after his contract is up and wherever it is that these guys wind up, because I don't see Adams staying in Green Bay after this either. And I don't know what their management did to or didn't do to piss off Aaron Rodgers, but obviously a guy like that is going to attract so many players, offensive line. So that team might be gutted in the next 5 years because of this. Even if Rodgers does stay retired, that sends a message to the players how they treat Aaron Rodgers' teammates. So yeah, this is beyond repair. I would love to see Aaron Rodgers come to the Eagles, of course. I mean, there's whispers of us getting Deshaun Watson. I personally would like Aaron Rodgers just because he's a little bit more clean cut with what's going on. We still don't know what the end result is to Deshaun Watson, but a boy can dream. So we'll see.
Definitely. I respect that, man. But listen, the thing about this with Aaron Rodgers, and I said it on my show on Tuesday, that it's about respect for Aaron Rodgers. It has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with, anything else. It has to do with he's getting older and he's not getting the same support that Peyton Manning got. He didn't get the same support that Tom Brady has gotten in Tampa Bay. That's why Tom Brady left New England. If Tom Brady was getting what he wanted in New England, he would have never left. Maybe he would have probably left because he wanted to see if he can do it somewhere else. It's possible, but it's all about how am I going to be able to continue to get better and have the weapons available to me to be better. Aaron Rodgers won the MVP last season because he played upset. It had nothing to do with he loves being in Green Bay and they have the great weapons and he said, you guys drafted a quarterback because you thought I was done. So I'm going to show you how good I still am. So it had nothing to do with what Green Bay did, had nothing to do with what Green Bay put around him. It's the fact that he was like, F you guys, I'm going to show you how good I still am. And when I walk away from this team, you can then put in this kid that you drafted who didn't even dress last season because he wasn't physically ready to play. You go ahead and hold that. It's an organization that has behaved cheaply over the decades. They did it to Brett Favre. They've done it to Aaron Rodgers. They just feel that they can be able to take any wide receiver off the street from the discount aisle or the supermarket and say, do you want to play wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers? It doesn't work that way. When you had a chance, listen to how crazy this is, E. They drafted a quarterback in a draft that was wide receiver loaded.
Loaded, boy.
Loaded.
Yeah, man.
And do you realize that even if they drafted Jordan Love, okay, fine, you put that out there. There's 6 other rounds. They didn't draft not one receiver. And you think that Aaron Rodgers is going to be happy about that? It had nothing to do with the kid. He will help the kid more than Brett Favre ever helped him. It had nothing to do with Jordan Love. It's the fact that I'm still here. I'm still the quarterback of this team. I need weapons. I need a team around me. They didn't even offer a contract to what's my man from the Texans, J.J. Watt. Why wouldn't you give him a contract? I'm sure he wanted to be in Green Bay. That'd have been a nice situation for him to go to. Instead, he goes to Arizona. So these are things that Aaron Rodgers looks at. And more importantly, here's where I think that Aaron Rodgers really was done with the Packers. NFC Championship game. 3rd down. They get the incomplete pass or whatever it was. It's 4th down now. You have Aaron Rodgers, the MVP. You don't give him a chance to throw the football, even if he gets an incomplete pass. Where they are on the field, you can allow your defense to get good field position. You have the Bucks backed up. Who knows if you get another interception, a tip pass, a sack, you're now operating in good field position and you can be able to go right back up there and get some points. But they go ahead and kick the field goal when you have the MVP on your field. Aaron Rodgers was done after that. He was done after that. So that to me, I think it's what this is about. Nothing to do with money. He has the money. He's very comfortable. I'm sure he would have liked being the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. It's about respect, and it's about how they view him. And he knows, he understands that it's like, don't try to circle talk me. Don't try to prop me up in the media. I know for a fact over the last decade, you guys have been cheap as hell. The team has reflected that. The last time that you actually spent money on this team and got free agents and stuff, we won a Super Bowl. So that goes to show you that you guys are cheap. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with anything else. That's why Aaron Rodgers is upset.
I don't blame him.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm hopeful that he does walk away, like you say. I want him to retire. I want him to retire right before the season. I want him to show up to preseason, right? In his gear, and, he plays in the preseason games, and he gives all the notion that he's going to play. Oh, yeah, I'm here. I'm back. Everything's fine. And then as soon as that preseason is over, as soon as they're prepping for week 1 and whoever they're playing, I would say, because, they practice, I think, Wednesday, and then Wednesday. No, I think they get the off day on Wednesday, but they practice Monday, Tuesday. So whatever the schedule is, the last day of practice, he walks into the management's office and say, I quit. I'm out. I'm out. You go ahead and you put Jordan Love in there. Have a good life. See ya. And then after that, 5 minutes after that, Davante Adams comes in there and says, if he's not here, I'm out. So you can go to Pathmark or Rite Aid and go find your next wide receiver, because it's not going to be me.
Pathmark word.
I'm saying, but they deserve it. Everything that happens to the Green Bay Packers that's negative in this season, they deserve it, because they put themselves here. Yep. So let's talk about your Eagles, because you're such a big Eagles fan. What are your thoughts on the upcoming season? And are you a firm believer in Jalen Hurts? Because I'm not.
I don't want to sound like the typical delusional fan per se, but I always am in good spirits about my team until the middle of the season. Then I'm start getting more realistic, seeing where they're really going.
Yes.
We're in a weird position because I always preach that O-line and coaching are the most important part of your team. When you have your Cowboys had great O-line, y'all historically have good O-line.
Oh, 100%.
And one of the reasons why I feel you guys haven't reached the prominence that y'all should have is because of you guys O-line is getting older, and I feel if you guys
and Jerry Jones.
Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah. He has a lot to do with it. You know what I'm saying? But as far as my birds, we have good O-line. And, a lot of our guys was injured last year. We picked up a good center, Landon Dickerson, in the draft, and I'm very excited about him. He could be the Jason Kelce replacement. But I feel good about our team and the direction we're going. A lot of people have us going friggin' 3-13 and all that. And, I'm used to that. Everyone always just hates on the Eagles and always puts us in a place where we're not going to win the East, and we wound up winning. So I feel we always perform best when we're the underdog. So I'm not mad at that. We are definitely weak, and in our secondary, I would love if we address that. There's so many people that we could make moves for. Stephon Gilmore, the kid from the Steelers, Steven Nelson, is still out there.
Right.
Xavier Howard has just recently been disgruntled. I feel we should make a move for him to solidify our corners, because Darius Slay is good. I don't think he's the most solid number one, but if you had, someone lined up on the other side who's strong, they could make an impact. He's no Asante Samuel. He's no Troy Vincent or anything like that. But I feel
he's decent. He's decent.
Yeah, he's decent. He'll make a play here and there. He got torched at the end of the season, but that secondary did face a lot of injuries. But what I am most worried about is the coaching, because I'm not too familiar with Nick Sirianni and the guys that he brought in from Indianapolis.
Right.
I could just leave it up to the Lord and just hope that they do good. But one thing is for sure, and two things is for certain: we will beat the Giants, as we always do every season, no matter how much in the hole we are. I know those guys are very upset with us. How we threw that game last year, and we wanted a draft pick and everything. I wound up trading that draft pick to get ahead of them with your Cowboys. We traded to take Devontae Smith because they wanted them.
Yes, that was a good pickup.
Yeah. So Giants fans are very mad at us right now, but we're still gonna get that W. You know,
Who
tell
cares
them
about,
in New Jersey I said it.
who cares about Giants fans? Who cares?
Word. New Jersey
Listen,
Giants.
if there's one thing that we can agree on, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yep.
That's basically what it is.
Exactly.
Nah, but what are your thoughts on Jalen Hurts though? Because you did mention that, you know, if Deshaun Watson is out there, I've heard the rumors, you know, you'd love Aaron Rodgers, you got to see what happened with Deshaun Watson, but those are two high profile quarterbacks. So
yes.
do you feel that if they don't make a move to get a high profile quarterback, how do you feel about the current quarterback that you have?
You know, I look at Jalen Hurts like Michael Vick when he first came to the Eagles as a third string.
Okay.
I feel like he's that. He's kind of, you know, another coach now, you know, so a new system he has to learn, but he's still learning the game as where Vic was relearning the game after he did his prison stint. Right. I won't be the most mad if we don't land these guys. I'm already preparing not to land any of these guys because it just is.
You're realistic. You're realistic.
Yeah. What I do like about Hurts is that he will get you yards with his feet. And in today's game, you got guys like Kyler Murray, you know, who has success doing that. And I'm not saying Jalen Hurts is the next Kyler Murray, but, you know, there's potential there to do some things with his feet. And, you know, if he just, you know, does his check downs, you know, we'll be in a safe space. I don't know too much about, you know, his deep ball. We do got Devontae Smith for that. I'm yet to see like him be consistent throwing it deep. I liked what I seen at the end of the season, but I feel like I don't want to say luck, but I feel like he was just a product of circumstance due to what was going on with Carson Wentz. So he had basically no pressure on him to perform in any kind of way because Carson Wentz was just a sinking ship. And I love Carson Wentz, and I think he's a great quarterback, but his time was just up, just like Andy Reid. You know, their time was just up. You know, and that doesn't mean, you know, Andy was a bad coach or Carson's a bad quarterback. It's just like with us, the marriage was just over. It was just time to move on. We put Carson in a great position back with Frank Reich in Indianapolis. Right. And as far as Jalen goes, I feel like he's in a proven position too, because we're clamoring for Deshaun Watson, and who in their right mind wouldn't want to take Deshaun Watson, you know, especially if those allegations clear and everything like that. He's great, you know, and Aaron Rodgers too. So it's like, you can't say no to that. You know, it's not like you're going after friggin' Geno Smith over Jalen Hurts, you know, but I feel like Jalen will do good, and I may pick him up in fantasy because he does get them run yards. So I'll be watching out for him on the boards.
You know, the thing is with Jalen Hurts with me is that it's always been the same issue that I've had with him since his days in college, is that he's just not accurate enough.
Yeah.
You know, he can make plays with his legs, absolutely, but you know, you have to be accurate on third down, and you have to know how to be able to get the ball to guys. And he hasn't shown me that ability when he was on Alabama. He showed it a little bit when he was in Oklahoma, but it was the system. It wasn't the fact that, you know, he was impressive throwing the football. He was impressive with his legs and all that other stuff under Lincoln Riley. So, you know, I need to see him develop some accuracy. Can he do that? I'm not sure, because, you know, sometimes if you come into the NFL, or most of the time when you come into the NFL and you're not accurate, you end up just not being an accurate quarterback. There's very few quarterbacks that can be able to come in with a lack of accuracy and really pinpoint and revamp their whole throwing motion and get more accurate. So that's my concern with him, is that he'll never be a guy that is a high 60s, 70s, you know, percent completion percentage type of stuff. He'll probably always hang in there into the low 50, you know, the low or the high 50s, maybe even like, you know, low 60s probably. But that may not be enough to win you games consistently. But we'll see. We'll see exactly what happens. But I'm not a big fan of Jalen Hurts. I think that they threw him in there because, like you said, that they were pretty much done with Carson Wentz last season. And I just feel that if they were a little bit sure with their quarterback position going forward, and they still had Jalen Hurts, I think that Jalen Hurts would be sitting longer than actually putting him in the starting lineup right now.
Yeah, I agree.
So now it's time for rapid fire, my man.
All right.
Where I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions of who you think is better, and you can be able to tell me who it is. I'm not going to debate you on it unless it's completely off the rails, and I have to step in and interject I've done that with a couple of people. I've had to.
I've heard.
I've had to course correct them a little bit, but you know what I mean. Not too much. So we'll start with. I guess since we're talking about football, let's keep it football. Better running back, LT or Marshall Faulk?
Yeah, this is my lane right here. You know, I used to play back, so I'm gonna have to go with LT, man. I love Marshall Faulk, and he's better for receptions.
Yeah,
but LT, I feel like is just to me a better team guy. Like his energy and just his aura, his vibe. For me, I would rather be in a locker room with him than Marshall. Marshall's not a bad guy either, but I'd be more comfortable sitting across LT in that film room.
Interesting. Better running back. You have Emmitt Smith, or you have Walter Payton.
Walter Payton.
I didn't even hesitate. I like that.
And that's not because my Cowboys hate or anything like that. But Sweetness was a whole different animal, man.
Yeah, he was the man.
If there was no Barry, man, I'd have to go with Sweetness as my all-time favorite running back.
Definitely. Now, here's another one for you. Better running back. Terrell Davis or Barry Sanders?
Barry Sanders.
You go with Barry, okay?
Yeah. Oh man, he's gained more yards going backwards than some has gone forward.
Right. Oh, let's see. Better quarterback. I'm going unconventional here because everybody likes to do the same stuff. Steve Young or let's see. Steve Young or Troy Aikman?
Oh man. I'm gonna have to go with Steve Young.
Going Steve Young?
Yeah, once again, it's not my Cowboys hate, but as I mentioned earlier in the episode,
I'd go Steve too.
Steve was super elusive. I didn't have the pleasure of watching as much 49er games as I saw as Eagles games, but when I did watch Niners, he was always a pleasure to watch, man. And he super competitive. I actually feel like Troy Aikman doesn't get enough props as he deserves. I know he had a great line. He's had great receivers and everything, but Troy managed the game very well, and that's coming from an Eagles fan.
Nah, definitely. Let's see, which is another good one. Better wide receiver. We're gonna go. Like I said, I want to go unconventional here. Marvin Harrison or Isaac Bruce?
Ooh, man. And I hate ties. If there were to be a tie, it would definitely be that one. But
no ties.
The proverbial gun to my head, I'd have to go with Isaac Bruce, only because he's more of a proven winner than Marvin Harrison is. Though I feel like Marvin Harrison may be edging him out as far as being a better possession receiver. But being that Isaac Bruce has winning in his blood more than Marvin Harrison does, I got to go with my man number 80, Isaac Bruce.
Definitely, man. Definitely. I like that answer. Yeah, as you hear my son in the background.
And you hear mine too. He's up.
Better tight end. You have Antonio Gates or my man Shannon Sharp.
Ooh, I gotta go with 𝐥𝐤𝐲, man. Uncle 𝐥𝐤𝐲 got it. Gates is really good though. I mean, Gates, he's another one who I feel like is undervalued, underappreciated. But 𝐥𝐤𝐲, he's just built like a horse how he looks, man. He's
definitely,
and he's a super competitor when he was in his days, man, with Denver and in Baltimore, man. I gotta go with Uncle 𝐥𝐤𝐲.
All right, let's go to basketball. Better shooter. And I'm going unconventional here. I'm not going to use the same ones that I've used. Better shooter. I'm trying to think. Man, let me see.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't use the same ones because I was actually ready for them because I listened.
I'm
glad you throwing me off.
I gotta switch it up for you now. Peja Stojakovic or oh my goodness, I'm trying to think of another good one. Peja Stojakovic or I'm going into the vault now. All right, Peja Stojakovic or Eric Gordon.
Ooh, hit me on my pager. Going with Stojakovic. That's that guy.
You go with Stojakovic? Okay,
I got
cool.
to, yeah, man.
Let's see. Better power forward. Guy that doesn't get talked about a lot. Chris Webber or let's see. Chris Webber. Okay. Chris Webber or Chris Bosh.
Gotta go with C-Web, man. My Michigan family would hate me if I ain't say it. Bosh, he's good too, but C-Web, man, other than that bonehead timeout that he took, man, he's been super consistent and he's been hell of a teammate, especially when he was with Juwan Howard for years, even coming into the NBA. And, he's a super likable guy, competitor.
Right.
Bosh, I feel like didn't have as long as a career as C-Web with consistency. I felt like even in Miami, Bosh wasn't who he was in Toronto. People may disagree with that, but
no, he wasn't. But he sacrificed more than anybody else had to. So I respect him for that.
And Bosh is a great locker room guy too. Cue the champagne in the face and all that wild stuff he used to do. But he's a fun guy. You know what I'm saying? He's somebody who I would love to be on a team with. But when it comes to winning, and you want the ball in somebody's hands without calling a damn timeout when you don't got none, C-Web.
Right. Nah, definitely. Okay, let's go to baseball. We are Mets fans, so I'm gonna hit you with who's the better pitcher, Tom Seaver or Jacob DeGrom?
Ooh, I might have to go the millennial route here. I'm gonna go with DeGrom.
You're going DeGrom, okay?
I got to, and I wasn't around too much for the Tom Seaver days, but what I've seen from DeGrom, he's generational, and Tom Seaver was great too, but it's just a shame, man, that DeGrom's on this team doing what he's doing for this team, and I wish we had 6 other DeGroms on this team because we'd be a championship team every year with them.
Yeah, they're the reason why my blood pressure is high every year. The Mets just they make me upset. They make me upset and they make me emotional, and I don't like to talk about them. So the next Met question for you. More influential to the organization. This one may be a tough one. Mike Piazza or David Wright?
Oh, man, I gotta go with Piazza.
Okay.
I gotta go with Piazza. David Wright was great, man. He's what the organization is all about. But when we got Piazza from LA,
everything changed.
Yeah. And those are 2 great jerseys to have if you're a Mets fan. I feel like every Mets fan should have both jerseys or either or, because those guys were super class, especially Piazza, man. He has that edge to him. Piazza to me looks more like a New Yorker too, with the hair, the mustache. He looks like somebody I'd see in Brooklyn eating a pizza or something.
Right.
He's more New York for me. So yeah, I'm running with Piazza.
Nah, definitely, man. Definitely. Here's a last one for you. I'm gonna hit you with another football one. You're an Eagles fan, so I'm gonna hit you with this one. This may be a little tough. Better quarterback. We're gonna go with Randall Cunningham or Donovan McNabb.
Ooh, I have to go Randall.
Okay.
I love McNabb and I love what he brought to the game for us. I feel like at times he was a little bit I don't want to say lackadaisical, but too laid back for us.
Yeah.
For our city. It's funny that we shipped him to Washington and, of all teams. And, but with Randall, he was just a great guy, great locker room guy. I hated when he went to Minnesota, and he even stopped with y'all at one time, which was weird for me to see him in a Cowboys jersey. But believe it or not, even though I love Randall and he introduced me to the Eagles, my favorite Eagles quarterback of all time is Michael Vick.
Okay.
And I've lost friends on Facebook because I've defended Michael Vick, and I'm not saying what he did was right, but I just feel like when you go to prison and you do your time, I feel like everyone deserves a second chance. And
absolutely,
he did the best he could, and he's given more money than anybody would make in their lifetime to charities and to show that he's sorry for what he did. And we could do a whole nother episode on that, on what he did and how I feel and everything behind the scenes. But what he brought to the game and to come back and everybody wrote him off. and him and Deshaun Jackson and McCoy and Macklin was just the funnest times for me to be an Eagles fan. It's a shame we didn't win anything, but yeah, Vic, I got to go with Vic over all the quarterbacks that the Eagles had.
Nah, definitely, man. I respect that. I agree with you 100% in regards to, Michael Vick did his time, and, people need to forgive, what that man has done after he's gotten out in regards to, being an advocate and being a role model to so many kids out there. I don't have any bad thing to say about Michael Vick at all. Michael Vick was one of my favorite players. So, the fact that you say that Michael Vick is your favorite Eagles quarterback, I could try to course correct you, but in regards to the morale side of it, the journey that he went on, the resurrection of his career, of how he got back to football and how he actually made himself a viable quarterback again, it's a great story. So, I can't really fault you for that one. So definitely respect that. But this definitely this was fun, E. Appreciate you coming on, man. Like I said, I always support you. You know what you're doing in regards to, you have the new venture with the shop opening up. RapLab is doing well. You're doing your rev stuff on the side. So, everything is kind of coming full circle for you, and I'm very proud of what you're doing. Proud to call you my friend. So, tell everybody again where they can find you on social media and what you got going on for the future.
Yes, sir. That is RevBarber.MC on Instagram. And you can find my son in some of my stories and my pictures as you hear him here. He's dying to get an appearance on All Even Live here. I think Coco Melon's not cutting it for him right now. But all platforms, RevBarberMC, RevBarber.MC. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Come check us out at Q Cuts, opening in August.
Yes, sir.
That is 95-04 Ozone Park. If y'all from Brooklyn, Queens, we got that flavor for you. We're going to have the TVs playing all the sports games and everything, playing the latest movies. But yeah, we out here, man. And we got a Studio E opening up for the All Even Live podcast too. We constructing that. So, you're more than welcome to come and do anything you want in my studio once I fix it up there.
Definitely, man. I appreciate you. So, like I said, man, we'll talk soon, man.
Gotcha, brother.
I'd like to thank my man E for coming on his show. He's a diehard Eagles fan. Hard worker, got a lot going for him. The shop is opening up soon. Proud of him for that. He just needs to possibly change the colors of the shop. The orange and blue. Listen, I don't know how comfortable I'm gonna feel walking in there. But shouts to my man. Coming up after the break, the greatest segment on the planet, Dummy of the Week, on a Saturday. It's All Even.
This is the 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐤, gents and gals. Just want to give a shout out to All Even Podcast, the best sports podcast out there. Keep up the amazing work. Also check us out at 𝐤𝐤𝐺𝑖𝑛𝑡sandgals.com. We're everyday apparel for cigar smokers. Let's get it.
What's going on? What's up with you? It's your boy, the Candyman, the ALFRE to the D. It's your boy, Alfred from the RapLab Podcast.
And it's the one and only True G. Just call me the QG from the RapLab Podcast.
And you tuned in to All Even with Barry Grant.
Boy, that shit crazy.
Welcome back, y'all. So without further ado, the greatest segment on the planet, Dummy of the Week.
Dummy, yeah.
We pick candidates on Tuesday and Saturday, and then we pick the winner on that Saturday show. So who is my winner for Dummy of the Week? May I have the drum roll, please? And the winner is Cole Beasley, wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills. Free spirit, wants to do whatever he wants to do. Cole Beasley's my winner for
Dummy, yeah.
Because, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'd like to say welcome back. Welcome back, Cole Beasley, because you were on this show before. And guess what? You were on this show for the same reason. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Mr. Beasley feels the need to be the advocate for a lot of non-vaxxers out there. He doesn't want to take it. He doesn't want to follow protocol. So what he's done is that he has called the Buffalo Bills bluff in regards to cutting him. Hey, cut me. Go ahead, cut me. I'm one of the best slot receivers in the game. Cut that guy, yeah. He has even gotten into it with a teammate of his. How is that going to play out in the season where you're beefing with a teammate? They're doing the right thing. They're trying to be responsible. You want to live in the dummyverse. You got the Marvel universe. You got the DC universe. I have created the dummyverse. This is where he is. This guy believes that the Bills actually need him. He's a dime a dozen. Who is Cole Beasley? You don't think that they can find another redhead, small white man to run across the field? I'm sure they can. If you want to quit, quit. Nobody cares. This is the funny part about this. I said this on the last time you were on this show. Nobody cares. Nobody cares if you want to walk away from football. I don't even think the Bills care. They only care because they might have to eat some dead money. But in regards to the human being that you are, I don't think they care. That's the funny part. The dummy force is strong with this one. Strong. Cole Beasley's probably one of those people that have a whole bunch of bumper stickers on the back. His teammates are probably going to have like a special table that they put him at. You know, when you have the weddings, you got certain tables. You got the guest table, family table. You got the kids table. They gonna put him at the dummy table. That's where he belongs, because this guy just doesn't get it. He doesn't understand that he is employed by a team and employed by the NFL. It's a job. If you don't want to do this job, then walk away. And when you walk away, never, and I repeat, never come back. There's not going to be any demand for you. Nobody's going to care. Your family will love you because you'll have all of this free time to stay at home with all the people that you said are good. They're financially stable. There's nothing that they need. Great. Leave. Please. Go away. Shoo. Just go. You know how bad you have to be to have teammates going at you on Twitter publicly? You gotta be the most disliked person on this team. You got Emmanuel Sanders posting his vac card saying, listen, accountability. I'm not with the BS this year. Being an adult, responsible. That dummy over there, yeah, it's free speech. I want to do it. I'm going to quit, and I'm daring the Bills to cut me. The best thing the Bills can do is to keep you on that team and not play you. Not play you, just let you sit there and just drink it all in. Be an idiot. Be an idiot. I love this country for this, because what we've created in this world is social media has made you really understand and realize how many dummies exist. And although it's sad, it's really a good thing for me, because I can just be able to pluck a dummy here and there for my show. It's great content. Keep them coming. Cole Beasley, like I said, you and a lot of people have created the Dummyverse on the All Even podcast. I salute you. You are going to be in the Hall of Fame because you are somebody who's been a frequent visitor on Dummy of the Week. That puts you in the Hall of Fame. Congratulations. Congratulations. I would say my tagline that Burger King is hiring, but guess what? Burger King might require you to get vaxxed. You probably can't even work there. So Cole Beasley, if being a dummy was a grade point average, you'd be 𝐥𝐤𝐵 cum laude. But you're a winner for Dummy of the Week. That's all for this show. That's all for this week. I'll see you guys on Tuesday. But until then, stay safe. Stay cool. Peace. You can catch me on Instagram and Twitter at All Even Podcast. Listen to the show on Podbeam, Amazon Music, Spotify, and wherever you find your podcasts available. And check out my YouTube channel, All Even Podcast. And don't forget to like, share, and hit that subscribe button.